Hello crafters, thank you so much for being here with me today. It has been a beautiful day here in Texas. I got to do a little bit of swimming today and just a lot of relaxing. So I'm excited to bring you this new project. I may have told you this once before, but my mother prefers sending flat cards rather than dimensional cards. So every now and then I have to make sure that I am making enough flat cards to keep her in stock, because she loves to send out my cards, which I greatly appreciate. Otherwise I'd be buried in them. I make so many, which I'm sure some of you can relate. So today I used some of the decorative slimline dies, and I chose to use some of the beautiful tulip images. So let's go ahead and change the view and take a look at what we're going to make. All right, so here is our project. And like I said, I just wanted a nice flat card. Now I did use just a little bit of foam, but I still consider this flat. You know, this is an easy mailable slimline card. So I'll go ahead and show you the products that we're going to use to make this. For the slimline base, we're going to use the Slim Elegant Rectangle. We're going to use the Slim Elegant the Slim Eyelet Rectangle, and then we're going to use the Slim Basic Rectangle. So on all of these, or at least on these two, we're going to use the largest. There we go. So those are the two biggest ones out of those sets. And out of the eyelet one, we're going to make that out of the deluxe gold. And then for this one, I used a piece of green, and you can see here I've already got a section cut out of the middle. I did that using the Slim Elegant Rectangle. And the Slim Elegant Rectangle has these center pieces, and there's several of them. These are the two largest ones. So I used the second one down to cut out my section on this card, and I did that pretty close to the center as I could. Now it might be just a little wider on this side, but I'm okay with that because that's going to be my bottom. So then I also cut this piece out of Luxe Gold, which gave me this beautiful piece right here. And then I cut these two together out of Luxe Gold, which gave me this lovely little frame right here. Then the last thing I did was come get just some, excuse me, some scrap pink paper, and I just cut a piece wide enough to go under this cutout right here. So I just basically held this piece up to a piece of paper and cut out bigger than the die. All right, I think that is all of the dies that we need for this particular project. I've been doing a lot of creating here in the last few days, so my mind hopefully doesn't start teaching you a different card that I made instead of the one I'm working on. That's what I'm afraid of when I'm doing so many all at once. But we'll go ahead and set these pieces aside. And for my images, I use some of the tulip images. So here are the tulip images that I've stamped. And I stamped all of them in leaf green. And you may notice in here there's one little image that did not come from the tulips. So these three all came from the tulips. And let's see here. Here they are. Okay. So these images, I don't have the packaging for the stamps, but I do for the dies. So the tulip cart and fence, I use this row of tulips. And then for from the tulip bouquet, I use the bucket and this really this bigger sprig of tulips right down here. So that would be these two. And then this little piece I actually took from the Elegant Teapot and Florals. I felt like my card needed a little bit of balance, so I made this little sprig of flowers to put on one corner to help balance the florals on my card. So I colored these in a really quick and simple way. I'm going to use the archival inks. I'm using the Vivid Chartreuse, the Pebble Beach, the Vibrant Fuchsia, and the Tea Rose. Now, one of my favorite combinations for flowers are these two right here. I think they make such a pretty color. And just to keep this fast and simple, I did all of this with my makeup brushes. I thought it was just easier. I had more control, so I did all of them with my makeup brushes. So I'm going to start with the tulips, and I'm just going to put ink on my makeup brush and then flip up from the bottom. Now I'm leaving quite a bit of room. That's not done because I'm going to come back and add another color. And you can see I'm going to do this bucket one, and I'm going to do this one. And just look through there, make sure you're getting all the tulips. And I did all my tulips the exact same way. You know, I might go ahead and do these bigger ones because then they're a bit bigger and you'll be able to see. So you see how I'm leaving plenty of room at the top. I'm not going all the way up. There you go. All right. All done with the Vibrant Fuchsia. The next color I'm going to use is the Tea Rose. If I can, there it is. And I'm going to come in and starting right down where my darkest pink is, I'm just going to add some of that Tea Rose, lightly pulling it up. Kind of just making circular motions. I did the same thing to all the ones over here. The little ones are much easier to do because, you know, just a lot less room on them. All right, and like I said, I did all the tulips the same way. Now I'm going to come in with the Vivid Chartreuse, and these are the only colors I'm using today. I kept it very simple, and I just set my brush down at the base of each leaf and kind of flicked upward, and I'm leaving plenty of white space on my leaves. And I lightly went over the stems just with the tip of my makeup brush. But you can see what easy coloring this is. All right, get that stem in there. All right, and I'll go ahead and do this large one, but see how that just gives it such a nice look in there? And I'm just going to do these stems. All right, so from there, you can see just how easy this is. Now, I went ahead, I colored these two the exact same way. I made my roses in the same colors that I did my tulips, and the greenery in the same color. Now, I did use just a little bit of buttercup, I believe, just to come in and do those other little flowers. Now, for my bucket, I'm going to use the Pebble Beach, and same thing, just going to set my dauber on the edge of the bucket and flick outward towards the center. Just tap up there in the areas where it's close to the flowers, then turn it around and do the same thing from the other side. And the color does not meet in the middle, but that is okay. Up there around the flowers, I'm just lightly dabbing. And that is all I did. From here, I just went ahead and die cut. And this piece right here, I didn't worry about that because it's going to be tucked underneath my frame, so I didn't color it. You can if you want to. And I didn't really color the handle, but again, if you want to put a little bit of color on there, you sure can. So I just thought those tulips are so pretty colored up that way. And when I'm all finished, I add a really heavy dose of glitter to all of my petals, which again made them so pretty. All right, so here I have my finished pieces all cut out and ready to go. So now all we have to do is build our card front and stamp our greeting. And for the greeting today, I chose the birthday greeting, "Have a wonderful birthday." A lot of times this particular sentiment is a little too long to use on my cards, so I liked that on this Slimline one it was a perfect size. Okay, tangled up. There we go. Okay, so to make sure that I get this just right, and I'm going to stamp it in green, the leaf green. You know what? I think I'm going to go a shade darker. I thought it was a little hard to read in the leaf green, so I'm going to go a shade darker and use the fern green. I do that sometimes just to help things be able to read. Now I'm going to lay this under here just so I get my positioning just right. And my have, is that, I took my glasses off. There we go. Yes, the have is right here, and I want it to be over on this right hand side because I know that my flowers are going to go about right here, so that is about right where I want it. Okay. And now that I have it over here on my grid, I'm just going to double check to make sure that that is straight, and I think that's pretty good. You see how that's a little bit harder to see on that pink, so that's why I wanted to have it in the machine so that I can do it multiple times just to get a nice dark image. The words have and birthday are both thin little letters, so I wanted to get those good and dark. There we go. I think that's better. I think you can see that better. Now in my original, I did come in with some clear embossing powder and emboss over the top of that. But for my sample today, I'm not going to do that step. But another way to make your sentiment, you know, just stand out more is to put that layer of shine over it. And that also helps it stand out. And I think you can see here how this one has some shine to it. Just hard to see down in there. All right. All done with that. All right, so I'm going to work on this piece first, and I'm going to add my little frame right around my window, and I'm going to glue down this piece. I'm having a little bit of a frog in my throat, so I took a drink. Maybe that'll help that a bit. So, okay, we're going to use my thing. Now I'm going to grab my my little background piece here so that I don't get glue all over my surface. And we're just going to tap around. Now, I think I have told you before that when I do this for real, I add a lot more places of glue around. But when I'm doing it on a video, it can be a little tedious to, you know, just put the glue all the way around. So I just put it sparingly when I'm doing it on video. But of course, when I do this on my own cards, I do add more glue than that. So as you're watching this video, I am recording this in advance because I, at this moment, will be, or am, in Boston on a bus trip with my mother. So I have made a couple of videos in advance so that those can launch while I am on my bus trip. So if you leave any comments or questions or anything like that, I will be able to answer them in the evening when I'm back in my hotel, hopefully. But for a week there, I will be in Boston. So, all right, there's our top piece. And I'm going to go ahead, turn that over, and we're going to add some foam to the back of this whole piece. And I'm going to do that with this large roll. And hopefully this is enough. On this piece on the bottom, I want to leave enough room because I'm going to want to tuck these flowers down in there. So I'm going to put it over towards the edge so that I have room to do that step. Quite long enough. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to get a couple more pieces here to put on these corners. Right, like this. All right, that ought to do it. Now, I think, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull off these pieces that are around my opening. Not the whole thing, just the ones that are around the opening. I'm leaving these covered. And now, yeah, like this. Now I'm going to add this right like that. There we go. All right, now we can eat, whoops. Now we can add it to our gold eyelet piece. And right down here, I'm going to add some glue around on this piece. There we go. All right, now I'm going to try not to get my head in here too much, but in order to get it straight, I kind of have to get up and over it, and that's pretty good. All right, now that is how I have found the easiest way to kind of get your sentiment in the right place and have that lifted up little window area. I just love all that gold. This is such a pretty die. I believe they're sold out of that die. So now I'm just going to add my beautiful flowers. And to get my tulips to be in the right place, I'm going to have to trim just a little bit, just to make sure they don't interfere with my sentiment. There we go. Ooh, I like that. And then these, I'm just going to put right down here and kind of angle them so that they don't cover up the birthday. Now, I did find that on this one tulip, I need to put just a little bit of foam because he wants to slip down in there. There's a couple of them there that I felt like needed just a little bit of foam. Yeah, right over here as well. All right. Oh, and you know what? I will come back and color that because I did not tuck it under like I had in my original. Now, I didn't want to cover up all of my gold down here, so I did let those overlap just a little bit. Okay. come in and add these. So this is a kind of a simpler card to make. There's not a lot of, you know, we're not creating flowers. That always adds to the work. And I didn't even really shape these. I kept this really flat other than my foam that holds up the one layer, and that's so thick that this should go through the mail just fine. That's always what my mom is concerned about, whether it will go through the mail. So just to reassure her that her card, especially if she's putting a gift or any kind of money or gift card or something inside of it, she'll only do that inside of a flat card. So I try to make sure I have some flat cards for her. All right, now in my original, let me grab it here. Now in my original, you can see my bucket was a little further over, so I added this pretty piece right here. So that will cover up that end. So I think I will go ahead and add that there. So I think before I had my bucket a little further down that direction. No two cards ever turn out exactly the same. I try to do them exactly the same, but they never, there's always a little bit different here and there. But I do like this piece. All right, the last thing we're going to do for this card is add a healthy amount of glitter onto all of our tulips, because this is somebody's birthday card. And I just did that with the tip of my glue bottle. I just made back and forth, and when you're doing this, the faster you go, I think the better it looks. It just kind of random. I'm just following the curve of the flower and trying not to get big globs, but just letting that be little stripes. And whoops, I missed one. Did these roses and then just dotted around in here. In order for the recipient not to get a surprise bit of glitter, I have to kind of shake it out there because it wants to go down in that little window. But that's all right. A little glitter never hurt anyone. But I do try to shake it all out. When I was a kid, my mother did not allow us to bring glitter into the house. So now that I have my own craft room, I can just do as much glitter as I want to, but I still don't take glitter into my mom's house, only if it's glued down really well. All right. Right. Okay, there we go. To finish off this card, I went ahead and made a 7.5 by 9, I believe. And then you score it at the 3.5 mark. I'm sorry, 7 by 9, and score at the 3.5 mark and fold it over, and this makes a lovely slimline card. And this would slide down in a business envelope and go through the mail with no problems. And you have plenty of room on the inside to write to whomever you're sending this one out to. But some of these supporting pieces that they make to go along with the dimensional flowers are just great to you know, make simple flat cards like this. So I do that often. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera back around. Thank you so much for crafting with me today, and I look forward to being back in person and crafting with you next week, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.